Strengthen Y News. Comelec considers putting 12 areas in Maguindanao under their control due to ongoing violence.
PNP Chief Police General Dionardo Carlos expresses his openness to term extension.
LTFRB to issue show-cause order against provincial bus operators following the window hour scheme chaos.
Second booster dose seen to stave off possible COVID-19 surge projected in May.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. We are now reporting live from Quezon City. Today is Thursday, April 21, 2022. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I am Herlene Delgado.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media accounts and our website, untvweb.com. I am William Pino.
First in the news. The Commission on Elections, or Comelec, is considering putting 12 municipalities in Maguindanao Province under Comelec control. Dante Amento tells us why.
Commission on Elections Chairman Saidamin Pangarungan has disclosed that they have received reports of ongoing violence in 12 municipalities in Maguindanao Province. Pangarungan stresses these are highly contested areas due to strong political rivalry.
Actually, nagbabarilan na sila ngayon, mga ambush-ambush, but hindi pa lumalala. Pag lumala yan, mapipilitan na kung i-declare yan under community control.
But the poll body is yet to identify these municipalities. Aside from these unnamed areas, the poll body is also considering putting Marawi City, Butig in Lanao del Sur, and Basilan in the Zambasulta area under Comelec control.
Ginagamit nila yung mga private armed groups, including the ISIS, yung Daula Islamia. Ginagamit nila sa election, nababaril sila, tapos yung mga tao, tumatakbo yung mga tao, tapos pinipil up nila yung mga baluta.
Meanwhile, Abra Province will not be put under Comelec control. Chairman Pangarungan said the decision is based on the recommendation by the Armed Forces of the Philippines and the Philippine National Police.
Nakausap ko ang ating mga leading general sa AFP at saka PNP at ang ating Comelec Regional Election Director. Ang sabi sa akin ay hindi kailangan ideklara ang Abra under Comelec control.
Local candidates in Abra earlier signed a peace covenant for the peaceful conduct of the election in May.
Abra has been associated with election-related violence in the past. So I now call on all candidates to work together to erase the moniker of notoriety. Let us strive to respect the people's vote and the sanctity of the ballot.
Comelec officials will visit Basilan Province in Mindanao tomorrow for another peace covenant signing with the local candidates in the area. Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Meanwhile, the Department of Agriculture's subsidy programs for farmers and fisher folks are now exempted from the election spending ban. According to the Commission on Elections, or Comelec, during yesterday's hearing at the House of Representatives, the DA's request was approved without limitations or restrictions because they believe that these are very important projects. The DA has asked the poll body to allow them to continue the distribution of fuel subsidy vouchers to corn farmers and fisher folk after the Comelec approved the Land Transportation Office, or LTFRB's, request to exempt its program from the spending ban.
More than 2 weeks before the 2022 elections, the presidential candidates are on the race to convince the undecided voters to help them achieve victory. Some of them took the time today to give their statements about some pressing issues. This report will tell us why.
Independent candidate Vice President Leni Robredo has refused to engage the tirades of Manila Mayor Isko Dumagoso. These include his call to withdraw from the presidential race and his challenge for Robredo to deny her supposed to withdraw call to other presidential bets.
Hindi ko siya papagulan dahil hindi naman ito simpleng laban lang namin dalawa. Yung laban ito ng bayan natin, may mas malaking laban na kailangan nating palalunin. Hindi na tayo suspend ng time na makipag-away sa ibang kandidato kasi yung laban na to is more than all of us combined.
In response, Dumagoso says he is not picking a fight.
Hindi naman ako nakikipag-away. Kasi na huli sila matakot. Mali ang tingin nila sa kanila.
Meanwhile, Senator Panfilo Lacson agrees that the Bureau of Internal Revenue should reveal the copy of the demand letter to the Marcoses on their estate tax due. This comes after several media outlets reported that the department denied their request for a copy of the said letter.
Kasi national interest yun eh. Imagine 203 billion pesos if it's really the correct figure. That could change the lives of many Filipinos.
Meanwhile, Labor leader Calyodi de Guzman appeals to President Duterte to put an end on the grabbing of ancestral lands of indigenous peoples. De Guzman made the call in a press conference headed by Laban ng Masa together with the leaders of the Manoba tribe days after the shooting incident in Bukidnon.
Kaya ako nananawagan kay Pangulong Duterte na sa huling pagkakataon ng kanyang termino ay ipabuwag na yung lahat ng mga political dynasty at ipatigil ang land grabbing hindi lamang sa Mindanao kundi sa buong bansa. Yun ay siguro ang pinakamaganda niyang magagawa.
Meanwhile, the tandem of Bongbong Marcos and Sara Duterte held a campaign rally in Laguna today. Another presidential bet, Senator Manny Pacquiao, has no reported activity today. Jorlene Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And in other news, Philippine National Police Chief Police General Dionardo Carlos is ready to retire come May 8, 2022 as he reaches the mandatory retirement age of 56. But he also expressed openness to extend his term as PNP chief if the president orders it. Leia Ilagan tells us why.
3 weeks from now, the PNP will have a new leader. This as PNP Chief Police General Dionardo Carlos is set to retire on May 8 when he reaches his mandatory retirement age of 56. General Carlos says he is looking forward to civilian life starting May 9 election day. But General Carlos is also open to term extension if the President orders him to do so.
Ang plano ko, bumoto sa May 9 bilang Mr. Carlos. Pero pag may utos, katulad po yung huling instruction sa amin, automatic trabaho. Ganun o yun. So I follow. I plan to be able to pursue my civilian career. I'm looking forward to that. Pero bilang isang sumusunod din po na isang uniformadong pulis, dating sundalo, dating PC, sumusunod po ako sa pinag-uutos ng command line ko.
DILG Secretary Eduardo Años said that President Rodrigo Duterte has the option to extend the term of Carlos to create a smooth transition period between the current and next administration. Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Majority of the Philippine National Police Academy graduates will join the PNP organization. From the 229 graduates, 207 want to be a police officer. 11 will join the Bureau of Fire Protection, and another 11 will join the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology. PNP Chief Police General Dionardo Carlos said the PNPA is the primary source of commissioned officers of the PNP, with its alumni occupying key positions in the command structure in the organization. This year, 6 female cadets landed on the top 10 of the class, while Police Cadet Ernie Padernilla from Iloilo is the class valedictorian.
Doon po sa loob ng academy, inuhubog po kami physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Lahat po ng aspeto ng aming pagkatao para po kami ay maging handa sa totoong laban the moment na we graduate at the Philippine National Police Academy at maging isang public safety leaders po.
President Rodrigo Duterte attended the commencement exercise and advised the 229 graduates of Alab Calis of Class 2022 to perform their duty with honor.
After 12 years, one of the suspects in the 2009 Maguindanao Massacre was arrested by the Criminal Investigation and Detection Group, or CIDG. Maguindanao Field Unit at the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao compound in Cotabato City. According to the statement released by the CIDG, the suspect was arrested by virtue of warrant of arrest for the crime of 43 counts of murder that was issued by presiding Judge Jocelyn Solis Reyes of the Quezon City RTC Branch 221. He was identified as Datu Haris Ampatuan Makapendeng, the incumbent barangay captain of Tuayan Datu Hofer in Maguindanao Province. Makapendeng is said to be part of the Ampatuan Private Army and was among those who attended the meetings where the Ampatuan planned the massacre and participated in the murder of 58 people on that fateful day in November of 2009. The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board, or LTFRB, is expected to release a show cause order against provincial bus operators. This after thousands of passengers were left stranded because provincial buses did not ply their routes yesterday, April 20. Operators implemented a 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. window hour for the departure and arrival of provincial buses without QR codes and special permits in private terminals in Metro Manila. This is in contrast to the agreement between the operators and the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, that states that beyond the window hours, provincial buses may use selected integrated terminal exchange areas. In an interview, LTFRB Executive Director Tina Casion accused the bus operators that they were pushing for their request to allow buses in private terminals in Metro Manila at the expense of passengers.
The vaccine expert panel sees the administration of a second booster dose as a timely and effective deterrent against threats of COVID-19 variants and Omicron sublineages. The VEP also said it can stave off the possible COVID-19 surge seen in May. Isko Miguel tells us why.
Ramping up the COVID-19 vaccination, including the administration of a second booster dose, may help avert a projected surge of COVID-19 cases in the Philippines by mid-May. Vaccine expert panel chairperson Dr. Nina Gloriani said a second booster dose will give protection to the high-risk population, like healthcare workers, senior citizens, and immunocompromised individuals.
Actually, pag nagbigay tayo ng booster, in a few days, usually mga 5 hanggang 7 days, mahaba na yung 7 days. In fact, with some people, mga 2-3 days lang, papanik agad yung kanilang neutralizing antibodies, no? So makakatulong yun sa pagtaas ng protection against any possible yung exposure or yung surge. So, importante na timely din ang ating action, no? Para hindi nahuhuli at ma-expose yung ating mga kababayan.
Dr. Gloriani reminds the eligible sector to prepare to receive a second booster dose. The DOH will also release a more detailed guidelines once the Health Technology Assessment Council, or HTAC, is able to release their review and final recommendation for its rollout anytime soon.
Ang dapat nilang dalhin ay yung kanilang original vaccination cards, no, na naka-receive na sila ng primary series ng vaccination, at yung booster nila, yung first booster. Tapos isang ID nila, and then kung nasa H3 sila, medical certificate na sila ay immunocompromised nga.
On the other hand, Dr. Gloriani said they are still thoroughly studying the administration of second booster shots for other sectors, especially the generally healthy individuals. The VEP emphasized that second booster shots will depend on the availability and supply in local government units. Meanwhile, the HTAC is also studying giving a booster dose to 12 to 17 years olds, as the VEP had also submitted the recommendation for this to the Food and Drug Administration. Isko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
President Rodrigo Duterte has approved the implementing rules and regulations of the newly established Department of Migrant Workers. The approved IRR was crafted by the Transition Committee along with the Philippines Overseas Employment Administration, or POEA, that promotes the protection of overseas Filipino workers and streamlines their document processing. Joanna will tell us why.
As the government wants to ease the burden among those Filipinos who are planning to work abroad, President Rodrigo Duterte has approved the implementing rules and regulations of the newly established Department of Migrant Workers. The approved IRR was crafted by the DMW Transition Committee together with the POEA and was conducted through a series of conferences. According to POEA Administrator Bernard Olalia, the signed IRR focuses on the promotion of protection of overseas Filipino workers through streamlining document processing as well as filing of complaints about recruitment violation. With the establishment of the Department of Migrant Workers, primary services for OFWs will be available even in regional offices. This means that they can process their documents in their respective provinces without having to go to Metro Manila.
Alam po, yung DMW ang pangunahing layunin po nito ay magkaroon ng policy commitments. At yung serbisyo po ay ilapit natin sa ating mga clientele, lalo na sa mga minamahal po namin OFWs, no? Dahil po sa ito pong ating existing systems of UA, highly centralized po yung ating proseso, no? Doon po sa BMW, ilalagay na po natin sa regional, provincial offices yung pangunahing serbisyo para po sa mga ating OFWs. Ibig po sabihin, makakapag-proseso na po sila sa kanilang mga probinsya.
Apart from processing of documents, POEA's adjudication function will also be decentralized and will be available to the DMW's regional or provincial offices.
I-decentralize na po ito at ilalagay na po sa mga regional at provincial offices, magkakaroon na ng mga indicators yan at maaari na po na pagsampa ng mga recruitment violation cases yung ating mga nabiktima OFWs na hindi na po kinakailangan pumunta pa dito sa central office sa Manila.
In addition to this, the POEA Administrator's Office will turn into the Office of the Department of Migrant Workers Secretary, which is also part of the approved IRR. Admin Olalia said that the agency will release the staffing pattern by June 3 and will also craft the proposed budget to be included in the government's 2023 spending. It was in December last year when President Duterte approved a law creating the Department of Migrant Workers. Joanna, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And for the news abroad, President Vladimir Putin announced that they have launched the first test of the Sarmat, a nuclear-capable intercontinental ballistic missile that he claims is capable of overcoming all modern means of anti-missile defense. Ia De Vera reports why live. Yes, Ia?
Kath, at 15:12 Moscow time Wednesday, the Sarmat was test launched for the first time in an attempt to make Russian enemies think twice, according to Russian President Vladimir Putin. The Sarmat was able to hit its target successfully, traveling 3,600 miles from a spaceport 800 kilometers north of Moscow. Putin claimed it is an invincible missile made of entirely Russian components with no analogs and won't have any for a long time to come. He also said that it is virtually impossible to defend against with current technology due to its highest tactical and technical characteristics, including hypersonic missiles. Russian forces have already used hypersonic missiles in their pursuit to invade Ukraine, making them the first nation to have used such weapons in war. Before its test firing, Russian officials notified the United States of the scheduled test launch and called it routine and not a threat to the U.S., the Pentagon said. Some North Atlantic Treaty Organization or NATO leaders and analysts nicknamed the Sarmat as Satan II. Meanwhile, a senior defense official from Pentagon said that Russian forces are moving in heavy artillery, in aviation, and in command and control enablers, which would appear that they are trying to learn from the lessons of their initial operation. Kath?
Thank you, Ia de Vera, for that live report. Due to a recent surge in COVID-19 cases in Japan, the country's health ministry has approved the use of a fourth COVID-19 vaccine, Novavax, a protein vaccine made in Maryland, USA. Novavax's COVID-19 vaccine is designed using similar technology used to combat diseases such as the flu and hepatitis B by having 2 shots and a booster. According to Japan's health minister Shigeyuki Goto, this COVID-19 vaccine adds to the choices available for those who are hesitant to use the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, which uses the newer mRNA technology. The Novavax COVID-19 vaccine is expected to be rolled out in Japan by late May this year. Several states in southwestern United States continue to experience wildfires, which brings yet another week of fire danger across the states. Paul Gatchalian tells us why, live. Yes, Paul?
Kat, critical wildfire conditions is expected to continue over this week across the southwestern United States due to extreme dry weather conditions. This is one of the many other critical fire risks faced by the region in the past several weeks. Wind gusts as strong as 50 to 70 miles per hour are also expected to increase the spread of wildfires as a low-pressure system leaves the region over the weekend. There were more than 19,000 reported wildfires and 800,000 acres of land burned so far this year, which is a 30% increase from previous years. Todd Shoemake from the National Weather Services, or NSW, said that the wildfires usually start in late May, but this year it was earlier than normal. He also said that southwestern U.S. should expect a longer wildfire season as the region continues to be plagued by extreme drought conditions. Back to you, Kat.
Thank you, Paul Gatchalian, reporting live. What would be the largest solar energy infrastructure project for the Australia-Asia Power Link will rise in Australia's Northern Territory. Marvy Delfin will tell us the why, live. Marvy?
Kath, valued at over $30 billion, solar photovoltaic arrays will cover over 12,000 hectares in the Northern Territory's Barkly region in Australia, gathering and converting solar energy into 20 gigawatts of power. While the capital city Darwin will use an estimated 800 megawatts of generated power for electricity supply, leftover energy will be transmitted to Singapore, covering 15% of the country's electricity demand. To do this, a subsea system with 3 4,200 kilometer subsea cables, which will transmit the energy, will be built from Gunpoint Beach and will run through Indonesia to Singapore's converter station. Additionally, the use of sustainable energy throughout Darwin, the Northern Territory's overall contribution to greenhouse gases will be reduced by 10%. Meanwhile, Sun Cable is expecting to begin construction in 2024 and has garnered $210 million worth of fundings from shareholders Rock Ventures and Squadron Energy. Kath?
Marvy, would this project have any possible impacts on natural habitats in Northern Territory and its species?
Kath, concerns regarding the impacts on species in the area were taken into consideration by Sun Cable. They are consistently gathering information regarding potentially impacted species and are working to protect the environment and values held by the indigenous community. Back to you, Kath.
Thank you, Marvy Delfin, for that report live from Australia. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I'm Kat Dumaraos, live from Bangkok, Thailand. Good evening.
Our Kasangbahay. As the world faces these trying times amid the pandemic caused by coronavirus, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity from Monday to Friday, 9:30 p.m. Philippine time through the social media accounts of Members Church of God International.
Before we close, we will leave you with a word, giving glory to God. From the book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 16, it says, "Be of the same mind one toward another. Mind not high things, but condescend to men of low estate. Be not wise in your conceits." Behind the news, April 21, 2022. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am Herlene Delgado.
And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.